We all know that health is an important part of life, but are you in good financial health? Well, stick around because in today's episode, we're going to talk about the 7 signs that you are in good financial health.
Welcome to the Your Life, Your Money podcast with Scott Searens, teaching you how to thrive in life, wealth, and retirement.
Welcome back to the Your Life, Your Money podcast, where we discuss thoughts, strategies, and actions to help you thrive in life, wealth, and retirement. I'm your host, Scott Searens, also president and financial advisor at Searens Financial Group. Thanks for joining me today. We've got a good episode for you in regards to the 7 signs you're in good financial health. If you haven't yet, check us out on lifemoneyshow.com to see additional podcasts, blogs, videos to help you build wealth. Make sure that you're on track to financial independence. Before we dive in, I thought there was a very interesting article here from MarketWatch. It says, when it comes to retirement security, we're number 17. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I don't think shouting out we're number 17, it just has that right feel to it. But I know as I'm not sure about you either, but as a country, I feel like we're a very strong country. We're a very strong population. But here's the deal. It said, according to a 2021 Global Retirement Index released by Natixis Investment Managers, and again, this is a snapshot relative to the financial security of retirees in 44 countries. Here's how the U.S. ranked. Material well-being, having enough money, the U.S. ranks 11th. Access to good health care, the U.S. ranked 21st. Quality of life, a clean, safe environment in which to live, the U.S. ranked 26th. And then it says retirement finances, access to qualified financial advisors and services to help preserve savings value and maximize income, the U.S. ranks 17th. Like I said, I think we're a very, very strong country, but I think it's very interesting on the overall spectrum here that we rank number 17. Now, I'm going to provide a link to the article in the show notes if you want to go and see some more of the thoughts behind the numbers and the rankings and the overall article. Again, go to the show notes, lifemoneyshow.com, and take a look at the show notes. We'll have a link there that ranks to the article so that you can read through it yourself. So the U.S. ranks 17th. How about you? Where do you rank in regards to your overall financial health? Do you feel that you're in good financial health? Of course, as I've said on previous episodes, I don't like ranking one versus another. We all have different lives. We all have different lifestyles. So what I thought today is we could go through 7 things, 7 items, 7 signs that you're in good financial health. We're going to start off with some basics. We're going to go to a little bit more complex, and then we're going to go and talk to those that are, say, 5 or 10 years away from retirement with our last few items. But let's start with number 1. Number 1 on 7 signs you're in good financial health is you don't have any depreciating debt. Think about this. This could be debt on items that depreciate in value, like a car, or like you don't have any credit card debt. Have you ever seen those cartoons or movies where somebody falls into quicksand, and the more that they keep moving and the more that they keep, doing what they're doing, they just get deeper and deeper into the quicksand until they're just buried by it, right? Folks, that's how debt works. The more you add, the deeper it gets, the tougher it gets to get out of it. If you want to truly build wealth, or if you want to build generational wealth, start by getting yourself out of debt. Debt is paying someone else to use their money versus being an investor where someone else is paying you to use your money. I want to repeat that really quick. I think that's a really, really simple and important fact to understand. And I want you to think about this. Debt is paying someone else to use their money. Being an investor is someone else is paying you to use your money. Folks, that's all I'll say on that point. But again, first sign that you're in good financial health is that you don't have any sort of depreciating debt. Let's move on. Number 2, you spend less than you make. I mean, pretty simple, right? If you want to get ahead in the financial game, you're going to have to spend less than you make. But the question is do you actually know where you're at today? If you're spending more, most likely you're in debt. Go back to point number 1 of getting yourself into good financial health. If you're spending the same as exactly what you make, most likely you're not saving. So you might feel like you're in good financial health because what's coming in is what's going out, but you're not saving. And you have to remember one fact of life, that at some point in time, if you want to become financially independent or if you want to retire, there's going to be a point in time where that company paycheck is no longer coming in. And you're going to need to continue to live and live a lifestyle that you've so created. And if you're spending the same as what's coming in, you're not saving money. So you're not going to have any sort of bucket to be able to go to, retirement savings to be able to go to and make withdrawals from, and be able to live your lifestyle when that point comes. And for a lot of people, right, it's just they want to achieve financial independence. It's not necessarily retirement. Some people work part-time in retirement. Some people have different thoughts on what their life will be or when they want to achieve financial independence. So if you want to achieve financial independence, what you need to do is you need to spend less than you earn, and that leads us to point number 3. So point number 2, sign that you're on your way to good financial health is you spend less than you make. And if you're spending less than you make, that leads us to point number 3. You save and invest, and you've automated it, right? So what this is, to me, a really good sign that you're in good financial health. You've gotten past the debt. You're spending less than you make, and now you're saving and investing, and you've automated it. Folks, there is a lot of power to savings, for not only saving for retirement, but investing that money, right? Because there's a lot of power to compound interest. And I want you to think about this. Imagine, and I live in Illinois, right? And we're in the midst of winter season here. And I guess one thing that we're blessed with in Illinois is that we get snow. And so just think about this. If you just took a snowball, whatever you're able to create, and you're at the top of a hill, right? And you put that snowball down, and you're at the top of a hill, and you just push it and let it roll down that snowy hill. What happens to that snowball? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because it's just going to continue to pick up extra snow on its way down that hill. And so what you may have started with is a snowball that could fit in the palm of your hand. Depending on how big that is, that snowball could be bigger than you. That's the power of compounding and investing. Now, past performance doesn't dictate future results. However, history has shown that by investing over a long period of time, you should potentially have decent size growth in your accounts, depending on what you're investing in, what type of asset classes, are you growth versus conservative. But the point is here, again, signs you're in good financial health is that you're saving, investing, and you're automating it. Now, a lot of people say, how much should I do? Well, there's some general rules of thumb out there that you should be saving 10 to 15% of your annual income. However, if you never started early in life and you maybe just starting at 55 or 50, saving 10 to 15% might not get you there. And so you might need to do more later in life so that way you can hit your goals. Now, I just figured today we'd keep things simple, and I looked for some other articles out there. There's one by Fidelity. I'll link to this in the show notes as well, of just maybe how much you should have saved up to be able to retire. And so it gave different ages and then how much times your salary you should have saved up. So it says at age 35, you should have 2 times your salary saved up. It says at age 45, you should have 4 times your salary saved up. It says at age 60, you should have 8 times of your salary saved up. It said at age 67, you should have 10 times your salary saved up. That was just one article. I saw some other articles out there that said you should have 12 times saved up, by the time of retirement. There's no perfect answer when it comes to this. It's all based on your life, your lifestyle. How much do you need to maintain that lifestyle? But the overall point is, a good sign that you're in good financial health is that you're saving and investing. And then that last point was that you are automating it. You hear me talk all the time, automate, 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 meaning each and every month, a certain amount is just taken out of your paycheck, taken out of your savings, and going into your investment accounts, going into your retirement accounts. Because here's the deal. If we just say, oh, I'm going to wait until the end of the year before I decide to do it, and then I'll just kind of see how much I have left, and then I'll invest it, chances are you'll never invest that, or chances are you'll invest less than what you probably could have done if you would have just put it away initially. So save, invest, and automate. That's number 3, the third sign that you're in good financial health. All right, here we go. Number 4. Fourth sign that you're in good financial health is that you or your advisor understand the future tax implications of your savings. So now we've got you past debt, you're living within your means, you're saving and investing. If you're checking all those boxes off, yes, you're in good financial health. But how about the tax implications? Do you understand how your dollars are going to get taxed today or getting taxed in the future? You see, there's 3 different scenarios. You could be paying tax later. You could be paying tax now and watching your money grow tax-free. Or you could be paying tax as you go. And there are pros and cons to each one of these groupings. And so part of, I'll say, being in good financial health is doing a tax projection or working with somebody that can do a tax projection for you. Part of our Retirement 360 Blueprint process is that each and every fall we're doing a tax projection. So not only are we helping to put our clients in the best tax position possible by the end of the year, but we're also doing a tax projection to help them understand that based on where they're putting their dollars, or maybe we need to rearrange where they're putting their dollars based on what their potential taxes could look like in the future. Now, we all have no idea of what tax rates will be in the future, but maybe you're like me and you look at the national spending, the national debt, and everything continues to go up. I don't know, just kind of my personal belief that most likely tax rates will go up in the future. So if you get a lot of that money in that pay tax later bucket, well, you could be putting yourself in a position where you're going to pay more taxes in your future than what you could potentially pay today. So fourth sign, good financial health, is that you understand future tax implications of your savings, putting together a tax projection, you have a tax plan, and you're tax diversifying your savings, meaning you're using all of those different buckets because we don't know where tax rates will be going in the future. So you're using tax diversification to help potentially put yourself in the best position possible when it comes to overall taxes. Okay, the 5th sign that you're in good financial health. Now, I'm going to kind of move into that next step, right? The last, I'll say 3 here are talking to folks that are 5 to 10 years away from retirement. So the 5th sign is that you have a retirement income plan. Here's the analogy I want to use. Think about this. Think about building a house, right? You don't just start building the house. If I asked you, what's the first thing that you're going to do in building a house? Most likely you're going to say, I've got to create a design. I'm going to design the house. I'm going to work with an architect. I'm going to create the design for what I want my house to look like. That architect's going to put together a blueprint for you. From that blueprint, you're going to be able to go out and get estimates on what the construction costs would be. Then based on those estimates, you might need to make some adjustments. You might say, whoops, this house is way outside of our budget. We've got to scale back a little bit. Or based on those estimates, you might start to change things around. Hey, instead of this size laundry room, I want to make the laundry room a little bit bigger. We're going to add some detail into the master closet, and maybe you decide to spend a little bit more on the house. And then after those estimates, you get everything, all the changes done on the blueprint, then you go and you build that house. Folks, let's tie this right to your retirement, right? That house that you're building, that's your retirement. So you're not just jumping into retirement. I highly recommend that you create the design first. You create your own blueprint. Do those budgets, right? That estimates that you're getting in on that house, does the blueprint for your retirement, does that match up with your retirement savings? Does that match up with the vacations that you want to take? Does that match up with the legacy that you want to pass on? Once you build the blueprint, that's when you can then go and enact your plan, getting the investments into the right categories for growth and safety, getting your health plan in place when it comes to long-term care, taking out the income that you need to maintain your lifestyle. So hopefully that was a good analogy just to get you thinking and understanding that going into retirement is very similar to building a house. You don't just jump right in and start putting up the boards and throwing on the roof. Start with the design. Start with your retirement income plan. So number 5 on our list here, 7 signs that you're in good financial health, is that you've created a retirement income plan, or you've created your financial plan. Here we go. Number 6, if you're married, both you and your spouse know enough about the retirement plan to be able to manage if something happens to the other person. I want to say that again. Number 6, signs that you're in good financial health is that if you're married, both you and your spouse know enough about the retirement plan that either person would be able to manage it if something were to happen to the other one. Here's what I see all the time. One person, one spouse in the relationship is a do-it-yourselfer, likes to do everything on their own, loves to manage the plan, loves to manage the investments, loves to understand taxes and know exactly the tax projections and knows which bucket to take what from. But think about if that spouse and your relationship were to pass away. First off, losing a spouse is a very tough situation. But think about this. Think about losing a spouse and not knowing where the money is at. Losing a spouse and not knowing where to get your next retirement paycheck from. Losing a spouse and not knowing how much you can take out and how to make it last through your lifetime. That can be extra stressful. So, do both of you understand the plan? Here's a quick analogy that I'd like to share with you. My mother makes these great chocolate chip cookies, but you know what? The recipe's not actually hers. It's her great-grandmother's recipe. Now think about this. Her great-grandmother left a recipe that's been passed down through generations, and my mother can take this recipe and bake these same great cookies because the recipe tells her exactly what to do. And now I know she's probably put her own twist to things and tweaked a little bit here and tweaked a little bit there, but she's still able to make these great chocolate chip cookies that have passed down generation by generation by generation because of this recipe. A line item, a list of items and things that tells her exactly what to do, how much of each type of ingredient to be able to bake those cookies. That's the same as what we're talking about here. Do you have a plan that if either one of you were to pass away, each of you can understand that plan, or you work with a financial advisor that has that plan in place? You both have a good general understanding of it, and that financial advisor can help you continue on that plan. All right, number 7, and then I do have a bonus item for you here, so stick around for the bonus item. But number 7 is that you have a plan in place for health, but specifically long-term care. Folks, more and more people need long-term care support. What is long-term care? Well, as part of the natural aging and maturing process, we might need help. We might need help going from room to room. We might need help going to the bathroom. We might need help getting dressed. We might need help making our breakfast or lunch or dinner. And let me be very clear. Medicare does not pay for that help called long-term care support. Just to give you some ideas here, full-time home health care can cost $50,000 to $60,000 a year. A nursing home, if you were to need to go into a nursing homes, I've seen costs that have been around $90,000 a year or even more. Folks, this can get expensive. And if you're a married couple, right? Again, what if the first spouse were to need long-term care? What if that first spouse was to need $100,000 a year in care? What would that leave the second spouse? So have you put together a plan? Do you have a plan in place for long-term care? Do you know if you can self-insure? Meaning that you're just going to take from your retirement savings to pay for long-term care. And if you do decide to self-insure and the first person needs a lot of long-term care support, will the remaining spouse be okay? Or another option is transferring the risk to an insurance company and getting a long-term care plan. Meaning, now when you've got that, let's just, again, rough numbers, $100,000 nursing home bill, now the long-term care insurance plan that you have might pay for some of it, might pay for all of it. Just depends on how big of an insurance plan that you need and get. And then you might have to pay for some or whatever it might be out of your pocket. The overall, though, sign to good financial health is that you've thought about it, you've talked about it, and you've made a plan for it. Whether that plan is that you have the ability to self-insure or that you've decided to transfer the risk to an insurance company. Those were the 7 signs that you're in good financial health. Like I mentioned, I've got a bonus for you, and I wouldn't necessarily put this in the financial standpoint, but it does tie to financials. Really goes under the legal. The bonus that you're in overall good financial and legal health is that you've got your estate properly set up and your beneficiaries properly listed. Meaning, do you have a will? Do you have your powers of attorney? So powers of attorney for medical, powers of attorney for property. Sometimes people call that financial. If you have a more complex situation, do you have a trust in place? And then when is the last time that you've reviewed all of your accounts, and do you have all of the right beneficiaries listed on your accounts? Hey, I hope these 7 signs that you're in good financial health has really helped you think about your situation. Can you go through and put a check mark next to each one of these to say, yes, I'm on track. Yes, I'm on track. Yes, I'm on track. If so, great. If not, and you're wondering where to start, sometimes the best thing to do is just take small actions. If you can use this list and take actions, great. If you need somebody to help you through that, a coach, a mentor, then maybe that's the time to sit down with a financial advisor to make sure that you and your situation get on the right track, to make sure that you can check those boxes off, that you're in good financial health. Hey, I hope that you found this podcast to be of value and benefit. If so, and you'd like to listen to additional podcasts just like this to help you build wealth, reduce your long-term tax picture, subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Also, check us out on lifemoneyshow.com. Again, that's lifemoneyshow.com. We've got blogs there, videos there to help you build wealth and make sure that you're on track towards financial independence. Also, there's a tab there. If you're interested, you can click on that tab to work with me and my company, and we can get you on the right track to make sure you're checking off those 7 signs that you're in good financial health. Hey, thanks for joining today. I look forward to our next conversation, to helping you live life today and being financially confident about your tomorrow.
Sierens Financial Group is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and Sierens Financial Group, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Sierens Financial Group, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein, provided by third parties, have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Sierens Financial Group, Inc.